Welcome to Lesson 7 of City Vision University's Nonprofit Educational Program Design course. In this lesson, we're going to be helping you focus on developing lessons and lesson plans. So there's a lot of lessons in this, right? So Lesson 7, Learning Outcomes. After completing this, you should be able to evaluate and select instructional strategies. So we're going to talk a lot about instructional strategies. How do you teach effectively to adults whenever you're like in the classroom? And then develop a 1-hour lesson plan utilizing instructional strategies that fit with your lesson plan outcomes and your audience. Then you're going to develop slides, handouts, and or worksheets to support your lesson plan. So again, this is in the ADDIE model. We're finally getting to the develop. So you're creating, developing course materials, whereas up to now you're in analysis and then design. So this is the first part of developing. You're developing a lesson plan. And just to explain this again in context, everything needs to tie back up. So you're working on the lesson plan, and your lesson learning objectives need to support your course learning outcomes or course learning and your educational learning outcomes and your program outcomes. So that's where we're focused on this week. Now, this week, because there are so many different instructional techniques, we would rather have you get most of your material this week from the sources that we've linked in the course. So I would encourage you to get those. Just what I want to do is just kind of give you a highlight of what we mean whenever we're talking about instructional strategies and techniques. Now, different groups have categorized the different categories of instructional strategies and techniques. This is one of the most common. You have direct versus indirect as a categorization. So a lecture would be direct, or tutorials, or having people watch a video, or things along those lines are handouts. Now, most of what you're going to be preparing for your lesson is going to be the direct instruction. But also there could be indirect. So if you ever took a case study course, or you have them, you use guided inquiry or concept mapping. If you ever use Post-it notes in a room, or problem solving, that's where you're having them kind of discover the answers as they're going in the course. Then you have experiential. Most people went to field trips whenever they're in school, right? That's a big one. Case studies can also be experiential. Role playing is common, or dramatizations can be experiential. And a lot of the reason why we try to get our students to engage with real organizations is more the experiential side. Individual study, online education, a lot of it ends up being an individual study. So papers, reports, assigned questions, essays, things along those lines. And then interactive instruction. A lot of adult education is really helpful for this. You could have things where you have classroom discussion, you could have panels, you could have role playing, debate, all those things. So this is just a short list of potential instructional strategies and techniques. What we're providing this week is a bunch of videos that you can go through, and we want you to select the ones that you think might fit your audience best. Just on a quick scan, here's some of the ones I think often fit adults the best: project-based learning, or what we call constructionist, experiential learning, discussion, this 10+2 method, working in groups, differentiation. That's basically you're going to work differently with someone who has a third grade reading level with someone who might already have a college degree. The last part is recognize in week 8, you're going to be either presenting or recording a lesson for week 8. If you are able to present, that's going to be by far superior. So don't just try to say, it's going to be easier to record something. And I realize that for many of you, that may not be an option. But if you could present, and if you're working with an organization, say, hey, would you mind if I, present for an hour a topic, and you tell me, what, or you could work with them to identify what that's going to be. If you're in the organization, this is going to make the most sense if you're already working in an organization. If not, then you could record yourself. Put your mobile phone on, a stand or something, or have someone hold it, and record your training video as if you were delivering to a live audience. And if you choose this option, upload the YouTube video next week. And we ask you to prepare an hour long. We're going to have you only record 20 minutes just because the faculty may have too many things to review. And if we had 20 students in the course, that would be a lot of videos to watch. So we're going to limit it to 20 minutes. But then the third option would be to record an online lesson for an online course, which you will upload next week. If you choose this option, then you can upload to YouTube next week. I would recommend, if you go with that option, probably the easiest way to record would be to create a free Zoom account and then share your screen, and then you could do that. So that would be to create a course kind of like what I have here. So we also, in this week, we provide a template for you. And so in part 6, organizing your teaching hour, this is kind of like a big overview, and you can get rid of the instructions, as you go. And then you'd say, okay, here's the class name, the lesson outcomes, which class level outcomes or course level outcomes does this support? Often start with a strong introduction. You want to warm up the students, and then this is kind of the schedule of what you plan to cover. First 2 minutes, you're going to cover this concept. Here's going to be the basic idea. This is the summary, the generalization / summary. And then if you have any techniques or materials or slides, part of this might be discussion. You'd have, classroom discussion. Or you might start with discussion and then go into some slides. So that's what this week's about. And just be sure you try to find some sort of way that you can record this, because in week 8, you're going to be recording this. So thanks a lot. If you have any questions, please ask your faculty. Thanks. Bye.